So I'm going to do a little plucking the evil thoughts out of your head. Evil thoughts could constitute things that you're struggling with, little addictions that you're prone to. It could constitute insecure feelings, paranoia. It could constitute basically anything that lowers your spirit, lowers your energies, lowers your frequencies, and makes you more malleable, makes you more easy to be influenced. So I'm just going to pluck that away and just remind you that we are currently all around us. If you look close enough, if you can see beyond the superficial, if you can see beyond the consumerist, if you can see beyond what meets the eye, we are currently fighting a spiritual battle. How, you may ask? The music that we're listening to has energetic currencies to them. That's why when you listen to sad music, it can bolster up feelings of sadness. When you listen to aggressive music, you can feel a little bit more in a rage. It's all spells. They're all spiritual spells. I think it was XXXTentacion who basically pointed out how if they put music at like 440 hertz, I think it was, basically they specifically put music at a certain note that makes your brain easier to predict and to mold. So when you start to feel all tight and knotted and all complicated and all broken and fractured, you might be under attack. And we just need to remember the beautiful spirit that truly loves us for who we are unconditionally, and remember that rhetoric to the opposite is also energy lowering, spirit lowering, demoniac energy that we can push away by turning towards healthier subjects. Everything we encounter, everything that we engage with will inform our worldview, our emotional map, our composition, our psychological health, and we'll become more subject to defining ourselves by the content we've consumed. You are what you eat. That's why social media is a brainwashing tool. Every video you watch, every video you engage with, if they have that sort of like sharp marketed, consumerist, pop, sort of like superficial, sort of think of the next new trend, think of the next new big thing, think of the next new emotionally charged subject to sort of pop levels of insecurity into your psyche, pop levels of confusion into your psyche. These are all a part of the plan. These are meant to lower your spirits. Now, when we think of evil thoughts, this includes a sense of developing apathy that needs to go. We need to make sure that we keep our empathy, but to a healthy degree, where we're not overextending ourselves until our bandwidth snaps and we become apathetic, but also where we're not gearing towards apathy in the first place. Empathy is a beautiful quality, and it's necessary to maintain the bonds of friendship, relationships, yada yada yada, or to create them in the first place. Very necessary. Community is literally a building block to your emotional and psychological health. If your energy is lowered or your spirit is lowered to such a degree where the idea of interacting with other spirits makes you feel, or other souls makes you feel like it's an imposition, or it's impossible, or it feels like sort of like a bad fit, bad mold, that in itself is your spirit lying to you. It's literally trying to isolate you. Statistically speaking, that'll leave you incredibly vulnerable. It'll leave you incredibly prone to different types of maladies in life. So we have to shoo away those self-isolating thoughts and remember that we are all imperfect, prone to making mistakes. No one is above making mistakes. We all make them. No one is better. No one is worse. We are all part of the same spiritual blanket, just trying to fix all of the little knots within the blanket until we can finally get into a sense of harmony. We as a populace can't do that on our own because we can barely fathom helping ourselves as individuals, let alone getting into this perfect spiritual harmony on our own. But doing one act of random kindness, doing one productive act, putting our part into the sequence, doing our part, will definitely help us to avoid being controlled by these negative thoughts and by allowing us to see the picture a little more clearly. Enjoy and engage with content that is edifying, that is supportive, that is healthy, that is going to give you a sense of peace, a sense of life, anything that fuels the fracture, anything that feeds into your negativity, the evil, the broken. It's only cathartic because you're feeding that inner brokenness, the quote-unquote validation, or rather the addiction that a person has to being imperfect, to being broken, because at the end of the day, it's easier to break yourself down more than to figure out new patterns of thought and new habits, to raise your consciousness or raise your spirit, raise your soul to a healthier level where you don't justify hurting others just because you're hurt. So we're going to remove all of those little negative, bad feelings and just sort of remove them. We have to forgive to receive forgiveness. Because once again, we're all interconnected. One domino falls and an entire puddle is scattered. Same thing goes with movies. All of this media is just spell work. It's channels of influence meant to lower or raise your frequencies, quote unquote, your spirit. Be careful with what you're being spelled with. And also take charge, take hold, take grasp of your life. The old world adages of health will stand true for the rest of time. Working out your body in whatever space you do. Going outside and enjoying nature. Going to a church. Making strong bonds with your community. Helping each other forward. These are all great to raise your spirits and give you a clearer perspective on life. That way things are a little less hellish and a little more radiant. Negative, bad thoughts will always happen. It's always going to be an attack. But through these sort of actions, through this sort of awareness, you can prevent yourself from being consumed and washed away in the currents.